Does that conclude your remarks, Mr. Ingram?
Yes.
Mr. Marco?
Representative Todd, I have a couple of questions after reviewing the bill. And I know you don't have it, but I do. Let me just read it briefly. Or I can give you a copy of it and see if you can. On page, and I don't think this was addressed with what Representative Miller asked. On page 28, line 8, subsection 1 of subsection 8, it talks about the immunity. It says a non-profit compassion center may not be subject to prosecution, search, siege, seizure, or penalty in any manner, or denied any right or privilege to a civil penalty. Section 2 says principal officers, board members, agents, or employees of the registered non-profit compassion center may not be subject to arrest, prosecution, search, seizure, or penalty in any manner. And I guess the concern is about the immunity. Those are pretty broad immunity sections.
They are.
And you can see the concern because other areas would say, well, why don't we have that type of immunity? That's pretty broad. So that's my first concern is how broad those sections are, you know, when it comes to prosecution or law enforcement. Page 21, along the same terms when it comes to prosecution, page 21, section 8, line 7 and 8, says, except as provided in section 7, which says where you can't use marijuana, a qualifying patient and a qualifying patient's primary caregiver, other than a compassion center, may assert a medical purpose for using marijuana as a defense to any prosecution involving marijuana. Pretty broad, because then it doesn't matter if you caught anybody can come along and say, it's for medical marijuana. And then the last section I read, it is I guess it's more of a question to you, is page 12, line 6, subsection M, identification card or its equivalent that is issued under the laws of another state, district, territory, commonwealth, or insular possession of the United States that allows the proper use of marijuana by a visiting qualifying patient has the same force and effect as a registry identification card issued by the department. Now, this bill is pretty specific about how you can get, but what we'd be saying is if another state, for example, California, I think we need to talk about some of the issues they've had in other states. Would this be saying, if a doctor in another state said this person is qualified, we would have to honor that, correct?
As it currently is written. Now, I see where you're going with this, and the concern that you don't have any control over the registration in other states, and how probably to make this stronger, everybody should be part of the registration process in Alabama if they're gonna live here and use here, they need it. I see where you're going.
Yeah, in other states, we don't even,
Right.
you know, how much they're doing, what their standards are for dispensing, I mean, their standards for giving a card. I mean, we've all heard the stories about, so I think that's a concern that, a lot of
And
folks
the
are concerned.
intent of this was if you have somebody who is in Alabama and happens to get pulled over and they have a card from another state, that, you know, they wouldn't be prosecuted, but I understand your concerns about that, and that's well taken.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
I have an amendment, Representative Todd, and if I can get my
Oh,
back from me, well, I've got it in line where I want. To address the concern I had about where the presumption lies, I don't want to mislead you, and hope my effort to claim legislative pity patty a while ago. I don't know if this is a piece of legislation that I can support, probably ever. However, in deference to you, you have made an effort to try and work this out, because ideologically, you have the ways to go. I think, at least from a law enforcement perspective, this would help if we could reverse that presumption. That's what this amendment does. On page 9, line 14, adding the word is, after the word is, add the word not. That flips the presumption. And on page 9, line 17, striking the word does not exceed, and insert in lieu thereof exceeds and. On page 9, line 19, by striking the word not. At least in that one section, that I think would help flip the presumption where, you know, the law enforcement officer wouldn't have to, if you're caught with it, would not have to prove you were using it for other than medical purposes. This addresses some of the concerns that offered the amendment.
Mr. Collier has offered the amendment. We have a second by Mr. Sanford. Any question on the amendment? Reversing the presumption there. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no, and the amendment is adopted. Mr. Sanford.
Representative Todd, I believe California was probably one of the first states to do this, if not the first, among the first. And then, as I remember, the federal government came out and sued California because federal statutes generally override state statutes. Can you update me on where that lawsuit is and what the status is? In other words, if we were to pass this, I am presuming, we have the presumption word here, that the federal government could come after us big time and we'd be tied up in court for a long period of time. And I'm not sure this is the year we need lawsuits,
Well,
if ever.
yeah, and I'm gonna be frank and honest, I don't know where they are in the lawsuit in California. Nationally, this is a work in progress. I mean, I'll be honest with you. And, this is something that lots of states are looking at, a good way to do this, so that it's used properly, and can really benefit people who really need it medically. But, you know, there are a lot of challenges and hurdles to overcome in that regard, and a lot of it is things that people don't understand, the drug and how it's used. And, you know, obviously, I really appreciate all the comments to the bill today. I think it'll make it a stronger bill, going forward. You know, we are running out of days. The reality is, we're not gonna get this through in this session. I mean, let's just be real. There's just no way that we could do that with the days that are left before us. And, but I do wanna be able to come back with a bill that, you know, definitely, and I wanna talk with you all to strengthen this bill. I do not wanna hamper state government's ability to regulate this. I do not want to put an additional burden on the Department of Public Health or law enforcement at all. That is not my intent. My intent is to help people who are suffering, to give them another option in their medical arsenal, and to give physicians the ability to allow patients to use it. Right now, when I talk to physicians, you know, they know the benefit of medical marijuana, but they can't say that to their patients right now. So it is a work in progress. I want us to continue to work on it, talk about it. I want to get with, you know, law enforcement and public health, figure out a way to make this stronger, to really address the concerns you all have. I know this is tough. I know that. I mean, I'm not stupid. I know this is not an easy issue to come forth and have people vote on. But I'm just trying to get it moving incrementally through this stage, so that, you know, when the time comes, we're prepared with a strong bill that everybody can support, and it will really help people. That is my intent, is to help people who are suffering, and to not encourage them to go and purchase illegal drugs and get themselves incarcerated for trying to help a loved one or themselves. And that is my sole intent. So I'm willing to work with each member to make this stronger and address your concerns. And the things you all said today make this bill stronger.